Today I'm going to take you through a repaint and a partial restoration on a 55 Chevy pickup. This one's a little different because it's old, it's not wrecked, and it's not mine. This one's a customer's car. So, like always, first thing we're going to do is take it all apart. This car was redone probably about 10 years ago. The prep work wasn't the best, and the car was from California, so a lot of the paint clear coat had blistered off and faded out. So we're gonna repaint it all. We're gonna put new wood in the bed and fix some of the bodywork that had started rusting and peeling and flaking and everything else. Right now we're just taking the bed apart. There's individual wood slats. I just took one out, and they're held together by cross braces underneath and little tie bars on the top. We're going to end up replacing this wood. The owner of the truck varnished the new wood and brought it to us, so we didn't do that. You'll see us put that in a little bit later. I'm going to take the hood off, take the bumper off, take the grill off. I don't normally work on stuff this old, so I was kind of learning as we went along. So if I didn't do something right, sorry. I just did it the way I thought it should be done. Now we're going to take the windows out. The back three windows are pretty interesting. They have a center strip that you pull out, and that kind of locks the window in, and then the glass just pops right out. And you can take the weather stripping out around it. So I got those windows out. Now the windshield's a little different. That's just one weather stripping that's kind of pulled around the edge, so I'm just working it real slow all the way around the window until I can get it out of there. These aren't glued in like the newer cars. Now I got the guys doing the body work. That seam had some rust coming through, so we're grinding out all the rust. We'll fill it with filler. They're sanding the hood down. Everything's going to be sanded down with 180, and then it's going to be primed, and then sanded down, wet sanded with 400. They're just EAing the fenders before we take them off because it's easier than chasing them around the stands. A little bit more of the Bondo work on that seam. Some of the heavier scratches were sanded out with 80 grit. That's why you see the bottom of the door. He sanded that little part. There was a deep scratch there. So you sand it with 80 grit because it's a little faster, and then you can go over with 180. Make the scratches from the sandpaper a little bit smaller before you prime it. Now that everything's sanded, we're going to pull the fenders off. We can do the edges then and then prime it. So right now I'm just pulling the fenders off. One fender, now we're going to take the other one off. I don't normally do jobs like this just because of the time it takes. This one took about 2 months for us to do all of it. There you go. I'm doing a little body work. That's about the extent of my body work. I lost interest. I'm taking out the center vent, which would be the air conditioning on this truck. Removing the running boards. Sanding the rest of the door down with 180, getting it all ready for primer. Everything's painted. Everything was painted individually, the fenders and the hood and separate, so now we're going to put them back on. It takes a little time, you got to be careful so you don't damage the paint, but there's really no good way to paint this with it all assembled, so we're going to do it like it was a show car. Putting the weather stripping on for the hood. Now we're going to put the hood on. Really appreciate new cars after working on this. These are a little more difficult. Adjusting the front end, which was actually pretty easy. There's some crossbars and you just tighten them and loosen them. It moves the front end side to side. Kind of enjoyed that. Get everything lined up now. We're all good. We painted the top white. That was the customer's request. I think it looks pretty good. So now I'm putting the windows back in. There's that first molding. I just pushed the glass in. Like I said, I don't know if this is the right way, but it worked, so we're going to go with it. And there's a tool. You'll see you put the locking strip in there and just work it around. It actually goes in pretty easy. And once that's in, it's in there tight. So now we're going to do the other two windows, same way. Soapy water seemed to be my best friend. Helped the window slide into the molding. And made it really easy to slide the locking strip in. That's what's in that little pink bottle. Two windows down, one to go. Put the windows back in it. The guide for the window. Window trim. Door handle. Make sure everything works. Put the cover back on. Door panel, I guess you'd call it. Put the handles back in it. Now we're going to do the other side. Put the window in. Window guide. Window trim. The door handle on. Make sure it works. Door panel on. The door handle's on. Alright, put the filler neck in. The gas tank on this truck is behind the seat. So now we're all done with that. We're going to put the grill back together. We took it all apart so we could paint it. I don't even know how many pieces it is. 1, 2, 3. About 7 different pieces to make up this grill. Maybe 8. It's all bolted together. The center molding for the hood. Just put that on and you just slide it in and bend over the tabs. That's all it holds that on. Back to the grill. Put the hood latch support in. Make sure everything works. The bumper and the filler back on. The headlights back in. Hood ornament on. The nameplates for the side of the hood. Now we're going to put the windshield in. Thanks to video editing, this makes it look really easy. This was actually our 3rd attempt. They say 3rd time's a charm, I guess. You push the window in and there's a rope on the inside and you just kind of pull it out and it pulls the molding around the seam. Now I'm putting that center vent in. 1950s air conditioning. Making sure it works. The wipers on. Now we're going to put the running boards on. These are also painted black at the customer's request. I just did what I was told. I think it turned out great. I like the black running boards and the white top. I think all the choices they made on this truck really made it look good. The running boards were smashed on this side, so I'm just adjusting everything so they fit right. The running board was bent up in the center, so I had to lift the bracket up to tighten it down, and then when I let it down it'll pull it straight. So now it's flat. Now we're going to put the bed together. Unfortunately, we're missing about 2 hours of footage because the camera kind of stopped recording on me. So we're going to skip a little bit here. That's the part we skipped. It was about 2 hours to put all that together, get it all to fit, get all the bolts in there. I forget how many there were. I think 80 something nuts and bolts that hold it together. So now we're going to stand it up and you can see all the rows. I'm putting the rest of the bolts in we couldn't get to before, and I'm going to tighten them all up. Now we're ready to put the bed on. Now we're going to bolt the bed down. The holes in the wood weren't exactly lined up, so it took us a little while to get everything to fit right. Moving it around, finally got it. So now we're going to put the fenders on. All the fenders have that little rubber weather stripping that go in between them, so you just put the bolts through there and don't tighten them up, and then slide that little piece of weather stripping in and then tighten them up and it holds it in place. I guess that's to keep it from rubbing through when you got the two different pieces together. Also part of the reason you can't paint it all together is there's no way to paint underneath that without taking the fenders off. Put the taillights on. Now we're going to redo the wiring. It's kind of a mess back there. Check the lights, make sure they work. Now we're hooking up the reverse lights. These were aftermarket add-ons. These didn't have reverse lights. So now we're going to tuck the wires up there and tie them up. Check everything, make sure it works. We're all good. We're going to put the original wheels back on there and the white wall tires. There's a trick that not a lot of people know, but to get that blue stuff that comes on the white walls off, you use hot water. Well, I see a lot of people trying to scrub them and use all kinds of chemicals. Hot water melts it right off. Probably not as relevant as it used to be because nobody buys white walls anymore. Back in the day, I used to do a lot of them, and I learned that trick when I was busting tires when I was in high school. I'm just going to clean it all up, get the compound out everywhere, get the dust out of everything. Clean all the windows. Fill up all the tires. Now we're going to put the tailgate on. So there you go, there's a finished product. Did you like the original paint better when it was one solid color, or do you like it better with the white top, the black running boards, and the original wheels? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. I tried to get the owner to put an LS motor in this thing. It is going to be his daily driver, but he wasn't quite having it. I'm going to keep working on him, so maybe you'll see this again. Sorry I didn't have any footage of the painting. I wasn't there when they did most of it. I kind of left that up to the guys. My job was just to keep this project moving forward, take things apart, and put them back together. That's really all I had to do. This isn't a job I would normally do, just because of the time and space involved. It took about 2 months. We started on it in beginning of February, and we were done the beginning of April. Leave me a comment if you think I should have done something different. I learned a lot on this. I don't necessarily know I did everything the right way. I'm sure there's better ways, but this was my first time working on something this old. I just did it how I thought it made sense. I'm sure other people have tricks that I don't know, and I'd love to hear about them. So if you know something that I could have done and made my life a little easier, let me know. Maybe I'll do some of these projects again. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next month.